Okay, now we'll start with the next part is about the Taila. uh, Taila, the word Taila is originating from the Tila. So primarily Taila is originating from Tila, but all the other oily substances also are called as Taila. And when Sushila describes about the properties of Taila, the first priority would be always Tila Taila. Tailam to Agneyam, Ushnam, Tikshnam, Madhuram, Madhura Vipakam, Brahmanam, Grinam, Vyavayi, Sukshmam, Vishadam, Guru, Saram, Vikasi, Rushyam, त्वत्प्रसादनं मेधा माधव मांसस्थैर्यवर्णबलकरं चक्षुष्यं बद्धमूत्रं लेखनं तिक्तकषायानरसं पाचनम् अनिलबलासक्षयकरं कृमिघ्नम् अशित पित्तजननं योनिश्चिरकर्णशूलप्रशमनं गर्भाशय शोधनं च तथा छिन्न भिन्न विद्ध उत्पिष्ट च्युत मथित क्षत पिच्चित भग्न स्फुटित क्षाराग्नि दग्ध विश्लिष्ट दारित अभिहत दुर्भग्न मृग व्याल विदष्ट प्रभृतिश्च परिषेक अभ्यंग अवगाहादिषु तिलतैलं प्रशस्यते. Tilataila, the properties are its Ushnaguna, Tikshna, Madhura, etc. And it's also quite useful in Krimiroga and in case of Ajirna, and it enhances the Pitta and all sorts of trauma. Now, when Sushila describes about the different varieties of the trauma, the detail is quite interesting. Chinna, Bhinna, Vidha, Utpishta, Uchita, Chuta, Mathita, Kshata, Pichita, Bhagna, Sputita, etc. All sorts of trauma or even the injuries like burns also it are even in fracture conditions or these injuries due to wild animals. In all such conditions, taila is the tila taila is always preferable to be used as a surface over the surface like parisheka or abhyanga. Now, tadbastishu paneshu nasya karnakshipurane annapana vidhau chapi prayagyam vatashante. Taila can be used for basti or for consumption or in the form of nasya or karnapurana, akshipurana, or it could be used in preparation of different varieties of the food also, and it all helps in reduction of the vata. Now, Eranda Taila, another variety, another of the Taila which is quite preferable is the Eranda Taila, which is used primarily as medicinal substance, whereas Tila Taila is used as a food substance also. Now, Eranda Tailam Madhuram Ushnam Tikshnam Deepanam Katu Kashayanasam Sukshmam Soto Vishodhanam Tvatyam Brushyam Madhura Vipakam Vaisthapanam Yoni Shukra Vishodhanam Arogyam Medha Kanti Smriti Balakaram Vata Kapaharam Adhobhaga Doshaharam Cha. It's Adhobhaga Doshahara, that's it produces purgation, Virejana. And of course, quite frequently people do use Veranda Tela as a Virejana Dhavya. It may not be consumed as a regular food substance, and the properties are its Ushna Dikshna Deepana as such, and Sruta Vishodhana. It's also Vrushya, considered as a Vrushya, and Yoni Shukra Vishodhana. Then the other tailas which were used in Sushrat's period are Nimba, Atasi, Kusumba, Mulaka, Jimutaka, Vrukshaka, Kritavedhana, Arka, Kampilaka, Hastikana, Prithvika Piru, Karanja, Ingudi, Shigru, Sarshapa, Suvarchala, Vidanga, Jyotishmati Falatailani. These are the different varieties of the taila which were frequently used in Sutra's period. Now, practically, many of these sorts of the oil may not be used as a food substance now in the present day situation. And about these plants, we have already discussed in the previous chapters. So, we will not waste much time on these varieties of the plants and their details like. And these tailas are tishnani. लघूनि उष्णवीर्याणि कटूनि विपाकानि सराणि अनिल कफ कृमि कुष्ठ प्रमेह शिरोरोग अपहराणि. These tailas are katurasa tailas. Nimba from Nimba to Jyotishmati taila. These are also called as phala taila. The taila which is oil which is extracted from fruits of the or seeds of the plants, and they are anila kapha krimi kushta prameha shiroroga maharani. Vata vyadhi, kapha vyadhi, and krimi kushta prameha. These diseases can be managed with these tailas. Vatagnam madhuram teshu kshaumam tailam balapaham. Katopakam Ajashuksham Snithostam Gurupitaram. Then Kshaumataila is the cotton seed oil, is Vatagna, Madhura, and but it reduces the strength of the body. It's not nourishing. And it's Katupaki, Madhura Rasa, but Katupaka. Interesting. Achakshusham, it affects the vision, so it should not be used in the eyes. Stick dostam guru pitra. Krimignam sashapam tailam. Sashapa taila, this is some oil, is a Krimignam, Kandu Kustapaham Lagu, Kapamedo Anilaharam, Lekhanam Katudipanam. Sarasongatela, Sashapatela is quite frequently used in northern India as a regular food substance, and it is considered as a Krimigna Kandu Kustapaha. Then Krimignam Ingudi Tailam. Ingudi Taila is a Krimigna and Isha Tiktam Tathalagu. Kusta Amaya Krimiharam, Kustamaya Krimiharam, Drishti Shukra Balapaham. Now, Ingudi Taila also used in Vranas, wound healing, quite frequently, and in Kusta Vyadhi, it's often frequently used as such in many of the yogas containing or used in Kusta. Ingudi Taila is one of the components, and it's a Krimigna. Then Vipake Gatukam Tailam Kausambham Kusumba Taila or Kusube, a Sarvadosha Krita, is considered as a Sarva Dosha Krita. It enhances dosha, so it's not really suitable for the regular consumption. But there are some areas where this taila is used regularly as a food consumption. As such, some practice is there existing. Raktapitagaram Tishnam Achakshushum Virahita is also Achakshusha. ಕಿರಾತ ತಿಕ್ತಕ ಅತಿಮುಕ್ತ ಬಿಭೀತಕ ನಾಲಿಕೇರ 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 ಕೋಲ ಅಕ್ಷೌಡ ದೀವಂತಿ ಪ್ರಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಬುದಾರ ಸೂರ್ಯವಲ್ಲಿ ತ್ರಪೂಸ ಏರ್ವಾರುಕ ಕರ್ಕಾರುಕ ಕೂಷ್ಮಾಂಡ ಪ್ರಭೃತೀನಾಂ ತೈಲಾನಿ ಮಧುರಾಣಿ ಮಧುರ ವಿಪಾಕಾನಿ ವಾತಪಿತ್ತ ಪ್ರಶಮನಾನಿ ಶೀತವೀರ್ಯಾಣಿ ಅಭಿಷ್ಕಂದೀನಿ ಸಿಷ್ಟಮೂತ್ರಾಣಿ ಅಗ್ನಿ ಸಾಧನಾನಿ ಚೇತಿ. Now, Narikela Taila, which is quite frequently used in our area here, is under this category where the it's having Madhura Vipaka, Vatapitta Prashamana, Shita Virya, and Abhishanti. Madhuka Kashmiriya Palasha Tailani, Madhura Kashayani, Kapapitta Prashamanani. Kashmiriya Madhuka Palasha Taila, they are Madhura Kashaya and Kapapitta Prashamana. Tuaraka Bhalaka Taile Usne, Madhura Kashaye, Tiktanurase, Tuaraka and Bhalaka Taila are Ushna and Madhura Kashaya Rasa, Tiktanurasa, Vata Kappa Kusta Medo Meha Krimi Prashamane, Ubhayato Bhavado Shahre. They are both used for women as well as civilization. Bhalaka Taila is considered to be very irritant as such. Sarala Devadaru Shimshapa Aguru Gandira Sara Sneha Tikta Katukashayaha Dustabrashotanaha Krimi Kappa Kusta Anilaharashta. Sarala Devadaru Taila, they are used to for the Brunashodhana and Krimi Kappa Kusta Anila Vyadhi. Tumbi, Koshamra, Danti, Dravanti, Shama, Saptala, Nilika, Kampilaka, Shankhini, Snehaha, Tikta Katukashayaha, Adhobhagadosharaha. These Nilini Taila, Kampila Taila, etc., starting from Tumbi, they are Adhobhagadosharaha, used for Viretana. Krimi Kappa Kusta Anilaraha, Dustabrunashodhanashta. Yavatikta Sarvadosh Prashamanam, Ishatiktam, Agnidipanam, Lekhanam, Metyam Patyam. Yavatikta Taila is again not very, we do not use them practically quite frequently now. But anyway, it's mentioned in text as such. Sarvadosha Prashamanam, Ishatiktam. Or Ekeshika Tailam, Madhuram, Atishitam, Pittaharam, Anila Prakopanam, Shreshma Bhivardanam Tya. Sahakar Tailam, Ishat Tiktam, Ati Sugandhi, Vatakaparam, Ruksham, Mudrakashayam, Rasavan Natipitagaram Ja, Rasavat Natipitagaram Ja. Now, these tailas are prepared by processing the plant as a whole with some other oil, base oil, and then they are prepared. So, it's not that the taila is oil is extracted directly from the plant as such. फलोद्भवानि तैलानि यानि युक्तानि इह कानिचित् गुणान् कर्मान् च विज्ञाय फलानि इव विनिर्दिशेत. Now, tailas which are extracted from the fruits or seeds of the plants, they would have the same property as that of the fruits of the plant. And even Sushra mentions, like, even if there are any of the tailas are not mentioned in this context, their properties can be assessed by assessing the properties of the fruits or the seeds as such. यावन्तः स्थावराः स्नेहः समासात् परिकीर्तिताः सर्वे तैलगुणाज्ञेयः सर्वे च अनिलनाशनाः. The स्थावर sneha is the oil extracted from the other parts of the plant, like processing with other oils or maybe other parts of the plant. Their properties would be having a general property of the taila, and in general, all of them would be anirashana, vata shamraka. सर्वेभ्यस्तु इह तैलेभ्यः तिलतैलं विशिष्यते निष्पत्तेः तद्गुणत्वाच तैलत्वम् इतरेष्वपि. Now, the best of the taila among all the taila oils is the tila taila, and because of that similar property of the taila in all others, in general, all the oils are named as a tila taila, now taila as such. Now, in the present situation, we will have two sorts of the oils: edible oil and the oil which is used for industrial these sources like. Among the edible oil, the most important controversy about the edible oil is the presence of saturated fatty acid and monosaturated fatty acid, polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are claimed to be harmful to the body, and the concentration of these fatty acids in the oil, edible oil, commonly used edible oil. These are commonly used edible oil: mustard oil, coconut oil, and soybean, olive, palm oil, commonly used as such. And their contents, the fatty acid contents are so shown here. There are some claims like the oils like coconut oil is harmful to the body, sunflower oil is good for the body. These are all really not really true as such. The saturated fatty acid present in the coconut oil definitely is not harmful, whereas the unsaturated fatty oil present in the sunflower oil would be more harmful. Polyunsaturated fatty. See, the earlier it was claimed like in general oil would have more fat and the fat would be adding to the cholesterol and so on. But now the things are changing, like the perception is changing, and the almost all oils from the plant origin, they do not have that kind of a harmful effect. Sunflower oil, which is claimed to be very superior, at one stage it was marketed like as it is a panacea for all health problems. Even now it's marketed in the same manner, and there is a general notion like sunflower oil is good, but in reality, it enhances uh, these lipid changes or abnormalities of the lipid profile in the body than either the coconut oil or the mustard oil. Mustard oil, of course, would have the least of the fat contents comparatively, and monounsaturated fat is say relatively higher in the mustard oil, but otherwise it's least. Next is the coconut oil, which also has lesser unsaturated fat acids. Then the about the lipid profile and the health effects. Now it's often said that the lipid profile would be affecting increased lipid would be producing the risk factors, and it can produce a cardiac death. But actually, many of these oils would have the omega 3 and omega 6 varieties of the fat content, and this omega 3, which is present mainly in the coconut oil and mustard oil, it lowers the arrhythmias, lowers the cardiac risk as such. So those oils which contain omega 3 varieties, they are now preferable than the other way. So perception about the fats and the other issues are slightly changing. I will not go beyond that, but quite interesting is the advantages, physiological advantages or health benefits of the oil, they are not properly presented in the present dietetics. That's all in summary. So there is a need to review, there is a need to reassess, and then present the facts in a proper manner. Then the other than the plant origin taila, the fat substances from the animal origin vasa medo majjana. So gramya anupa udakaram cha vasa medo majjana गुरुस्त मधुराः वातज्ञाः जाङ्गल एकशप क्रव्यादादीनां लघुशीतकषायाः रक्तपित्तज्ञाः प्रतुदभिष्किराणां श्लेष्मज्ञाः तत्र घृततेन वसा मेदो मज्जानो यथोत्तरं गुरुविपाकाः वातहराश्च. The fat contents of the animal origin, vasa, meda, medas and majja, they are from the domesticated animals and anupa animals, in the sense Anupa Pradesha animals, they would have Guru Ushna Madhura Guna and Vatagna, whereas Jandala Pradesha, Ekashapa is a horse and so on, such animals, or Kavyada is these tigers and so on, wild animals. They are Laghushita Kashaya Raktabitagnaha, Pratuda Vishkiranam Sleshpagnaha, birds, the fat contents of the birds would be Kapagna variety. These are the Tailavargaha, the different varieties of the fatty substances used as such. The next is Madhu Varga. Madhu, honey as Madhu to Madhuram, Kashayamarasam, Ruksham, Shitam, Agnideepanam, Varnyam, Swaryam, Laghu Sukumaram, Lekhanam, Hrudyam, Vadikaranam, Sandhanam, Shodhanam, Ropanam, Sangrahi, Chakshusham, Prasadanam, Sukshma Margansari, पित्त श्लेष्म मेदो मेह हिक्का श्वास कास अतिसार छर्दि तृष्णा कृमि विष प्रशमनम ह्लादि त्रिदोष प्रशमनम च तत्तु लघुत्वात् कपग्नं तैचिल्यात् माधुर्यात् कषाय भावाच्च वातपित्तग्नं पौक्तिकं भ्रामरं क्षौद्रं माक्षिकं छात्रमेव च आद्यम औदारकम दारम इत्यस्तो मधुजातयः. About the honey, there is a huge detail in Samhita, and the properties of the honey are its madhura, kashayanurasa, shitavirya, agnidipana, varnya, swarya, etc. Along with that, another very important property is sukshma marganusari. It enters into the finer channels of the body, and it's also used in atisara, chaddi, trishna, krimi, etc. Now it's a kafagna because of its lakhu property, because of the pichila property, it's a vata pittagna. Hence, madhu is considered as a tridoshahara. Now, based upon the source of the madhu, they are classified into 8 categories: Pautikam, Brahmaram, Shaudram, Makshikam, Chatameva. These are Argyam, Audarakam, Dalam, Ityashtav, Madhyataya. Depending upon the type of insect which is producing the honey, their properties are different. Now, the properties are Pautikam. Pautika is a from the Apis dorsata, the Pautika insect, that fly which produces the honey, that honey bee of the Pautika is a Pingalaha, Mahatyaha, Makshikaha, Pautikaha. They are big in size and they have the Pingala somewhat yellowish brown color, and such a honey produced from such a this honey bee, that's Apis dorsata, is Pautika. Now, these are all very interesting issues. We will have to appreciate the details to which the ancient texts have gone through. विशेषात् भौतिकं तेषु वृक्षोष्णं सविषान्मयात् वाताश्रक पितकृच्छेदि विदाहि मदकृत madhu. The madhu which is extracted from the Apis dorsata, honey. Now, of course, uh, in the present day situation, to get the honey from that specified source is practically difficult. But suppose you get a provision, these kinds of big honey, these wild honey bees, Apis dorsata is a wild honey bee, which often you see in some villages, like in forests you can see. And such a honey would be Tesu Rukshosnam Savishanmayat. It's Ruksha Vishnaguna, and it also has some additional of Visha property. It's a Vatasa Pitta Chedi. It's a Vatahara Rakta Doshahara as well as a Pitta Krita. It enhances a Pitta. Vidahi. It enhances a Vidahi Guna. Now, this kind of honey you can get in some hill areas now. Of course, now the present day situation, the qualities of the honey are assessed even based upon the season, type of the flower from which the honey is extracted. Swish also goes into that detail, but there is another aspect of the assessing the properties of the honey by looking at the species of the honey bee which produces the honey. So that's the issue. Then the next is the Bhamaraha. Bhamaraha Prasiddhaha Tadbhavam Brahmaram. The very popular honey bee is the Bhamara. They are Makshikaha Pingalaha, Eva Swapaha Kshudraha. They are relatively small. So most of the honey bee which is used as cultivated honey, like where you use the sets of that honey cultivation, such a honey is the kshaudra is because it's relatively small, the insect is small, and it's a अत्यल्पाः मक्षिकाः. There again there are two varieties. Pingalvarnaः महान्त्याः मक्षिकाः, अत्यल्पाः मक्षिकाः. So Brahmara is relatively bigger honeybee, relatively bigger, whereas the Makshika are very small, fine sorts of the honeybee. It's also called as red dwarf honeybees or Apis florea. पैचिल्यात् स्वादभूयत्वात् भ्रामरं गुरुसंहितं शौद्रं विशेषतो ज्ञेयं शीतलं लघुलेखनं. The honey produced from such honey sets or honey bees would be having Pichila guna, and it has a more sweet taste, and it's a guru, and Shita guna laghu also. Then tasmat laghodaram vruksham makshikam pravaram smritam. Makshika is a very small. It's also called as this Apis serrana or Apis serrana indica, very popularly seen in our area, in coastal area. This is quite commonly seen. Cavity nesting Asian honeybee, where it produces or it has its nest in some wooden cavities of the wood. तस्मात् लघुतरं वृक्षं आश्रितं प्रवरं स्मृतं श्वासादिषु च रोगेषु प्रशस्तं तद्विशेषतः. It's considered as a more laghu, and it's considered to be superior and used in Shwasaroga, etc. Then the next is Swadvakum Guru Himam Pichilam Raktabitayita Shvitra Mehakrimi Gnancha Vidya Chatram Gunotram. The Chatra is Chatraka Akaram Himavate Vane Mano Vane Chata Chatram. The Chatra variety of the honeybee is one which would have its nest in the form of, in the looking like, resembling like that of a umbrella, that Chatram, and it's often seen in Himot Parvata in the northern India. It's a Apis laboriosa, rock honeybees. These are also called as rock honeybees. And their properties are Swadapakam, it's Madhurapaka, Guru Himam Pichilam Bhaktapittajita, Shutra Meha Krimignanja, Vidya Chatram Gunotram. It's also considered to be superior, and it's used in management of Shvitra Meha Krimiroga. Then the Arghya is a तीक्ष्णतुण्डास्त्याः पीतवर्णाः षट्पदसन्निभाः अर्घाः नाम तद्भूतम् आर्घ्यम् इत्यपरे जगुः. Arghya is a honeybee which has a very pointed and very sharp tip, these teeth as such, and yellowish in color. That's Bombus terrestris, one of the wild species. It's not cultivated. It's one of the wild species of the bees, honeybees. It's also called as bumblebees, and quite so to a certain extent dangerous. They bite, and their injury would also produce more severe anaphylactic reaction. The honey extracted from their nest is a Argyam Madhu Atichakshusham. It's considered as Atichakshusha Kapvitaharam Param. Kashayam Katupakeja Balyam Tiktam Avata Krata. It doesn't increase the Vata, but at the same time, though it's Kashaya Katupakarasa, doesn't increase the Vata, and Atichakshusham. Then Audalaka is a Uddalakaha Kapilakitaha Swarpaha Prayasho Valmikeshu Antarmadhuchilvanti. तद्भवम् औदारकं दालमिति दलं पत्रं तदुपरिस्थितं दालम् अन्ये तु कपिलाः इव स्वल्पतराः मक्षिकाः प्रायेण वृक्षकोटरोद्भवाः दलाः इत्युच्यते तद्भवं दालमिति. Now about the dala, whether it's the honey bee, type of the honey bee, there is a bit confusion in Dalana. Dalana has some confusion about the these properties of that particular honey bee. But popularly, it's considered as Kapila Kitaha, black in color. The insects are black in color, and they are commonly seen in Valmikeshu Antar Madhujilmanti. They are seen in ponds, other these soil heaps, they live. But there is a confusion like whether Dala is considered to be the honeybee which has its habitat in wooden rods or moth-eaten woods also. Now there is a bit of confusion, but most commonly, or rather what we get often is the Xylocopa. It's also called as carpenter bee, which where you will see the species having habitat in the wood, and the honey collected from that is Audalaka. Audalaka is Ruchikaram, Swaryam, Kushtabhishapaham, Kashayam, Amramustam ja, Pitta Krita Katupaki ja, Chadimeha Prashanama, Madhu Ruksham Darodhava. These would be having ruchikara, so and it also helps in improving the voice. Kushta vishapaham, kashayam, amla ushnam, tat vittakrita katupakija, chatimeha prashamanam. Primanium, now that's about the types of the honey. Practically, how far we can get this kind of source of a specified source of the honey would be quite difficult. Only if you have a resource of that sort where the specific honey bee can be identified and then we can collect, then only it will be useful. But whatever we get as honey in the market may not be having the same properties. But still, it's very interesting issue, like the detail to which the our text, Arabic texts have gone to. Then Brahmanyam Madhu Navam Natishleshmaharam Samam Medas Tauryapaham Grahi Puranam Atilekhanam. The honey extracted recently, fresh, unstored honey would be Brahmaniya and Natishleshmahara. It doesn't and reduce the kapha significantly. Whereas a honey which is stored for a longer duration, Purana, older honey, would be Medasthalyapaham. It reduces the Medas and Sthaulya, and Atilekhana. It produces Lekhan property. So when you prefer to have a Kapagna property from the honey, it should be older honey. If you prefer to have the honey or a Brahmana property, then the fresh honey should be used. Doshatrayaharam Pakvam Amam Amlam Tridoshakruta. The pakko honey, if it is cooked, now this again is a issue of controversy. Whether honey can be cooked or not, used for heating or not, is another of the controversy. There is a general notion that honey is not used for cooking or it should not be heated. But Sushruta refers that it's considered as a pakvam amam amlam tridosha krita. It enhances the tridosha asset. Sorry, the alma, raw one will be producing the tridosha krita, whereas pakvam, cooked one, dosha trayaharam, it's a tridosha gna. That's a matter of controversy. Practically, in general, honey is not heated. A heated honey is generally considered as a more harmful than the other way. तद्युक्तं विविधैः योगैः निहन्यात् आमयान् बहून् नाना द्रव्यात्मकत्वाच्च योगवाहि परं मधु. Madhu is considered as yogavahi, and depending upon the type of the substance with which it is used, the properties of that particular substance would be enhanced, and honey also takes the same properties. तत्र नाना द्रव्य रसगुण वीर्य विपाक विरुद्धानां पुष्परसानां मक्षिका संभवत्वात् च अनुष्ण उपचारम, because the honey would have many contents of different plants. As such, it should not be used with the heated substance. Now that's the issue of controversy. Sushruta again, see, there is a bit of issue. At one stage it's considered as a pakko honey, and other is ushnopacharam. When it is given with the warm substances or ushnameya substances, it can produce more harmful. Ushnihi viruddhate savam. Vishanmayataya madhu. Ushnatam ushnehi ushne cha tannihanti yatha visham tatha visham. If the honey is consumed with the ushnavirya dravya or in a warm condition, warm form, then it can even, it's a very serious harmful effects as that of the poison as such. So the I think Sushruta had made it very clear, like it should not be taken with the hot heated substance, but that statement like a pakko honey, it should be understood in a different manner. Exact interpretation would be quite difficult in that condition. तत् सौकुमार्याच्च तथैव शैत्यात् नाना औषधीनां रससम्भवाच्च उष्णैः विरुध्येत विशेषतश्च तथा अन्तरिक्षेण जलेन चापि. Honey should not be consumed along with Ushna Dravya as well as Antariksha Jala. The rainwater also should not be mixed with honey, and that can be harmful. Ushneन madhusayuktam vamaneshu avacharitam apakad anavasthanacha na virudhyeta purvavata. In case of vamana, for the vamana, honey can be given with the warm substance because it doesn't get absorbed, and it's with the help idea of facilitating the vamana, it could be given. मधु आमात् परतः अन्यद आमं कष्टं न विद्यते विरुद्धोपक्रमत्वात् तत्सर्वं हन्ति यथा विषम्. The ama para ama madhu is when you consume honey in an excess and it produces the ama in the body, that produces more serious complication, and hence honey should be taken in a proper quantity. It should not be taken in excess. if it is taken in excess and doesn't get digested in the body, then it produces more difficult condition, and it can even act as a poison. Iti madhuvargaha. That's about the honey madhu as such. Now, what we get in the market as a honey may not be really of the real this honey origin, that animal origin or insect origin, bee origin. You get artificial honey also, and lot of issues about the standardization of the honey is that lot of the publicity also is there about certain specific companies, like they are producing artificial honey, synthetic honey, and so on. And many of those marketed substances would not have really the original honey. They are having the added sucrose as content. Now, Agmark has given the standards for the honey, and that standards for the honey is again given as the limitations, the upper limit and the lower limit. And Agmark standards are different for Nepal and India for the percentage of the different contents, particularly sucrose contents. When it is in India, the special honey, which is superior, would have only the maximum 5%, and the A and B grade would be again the sucrose content is to be minimized. Whereas in Nepal, the other honey sucrose content is permitted up to 10%, slightly higher. So that's about, and then reducing sugars which is added. Of course, China again there is a different standard for China. So as per the different areas of origin, now you have different standards as such. From our issue point of view, all that what you have to know is whether the honey source is really original or is having the these added adulterates. Adulterates are quite frequently added, and honey also is one of the very frequently adulterated substance. Now, the next part is about Ikshvarga, sugar cane, and that something plants which produce the sweet juice. Ikshavaha, Ikshu is the sugar cane, Madhuraha, Madhura Vipakaha, Guravaha, Shitaha, Snigdhaha, Balyaha, Vrishyaha, Mutralaha, Rakta Prashamanaha, Krimi Kapaha Karashcheti, Teja Anek Vidaha. The sugar cane in general would have Madhura Vipaka, Guru Guna, and the juice extracted from that would be having Balya, Vrishya, Mutrala, Guna. The types of the sugar or species of the sugar cane in Sushrutas period, again you can make out the detail to which they have gone in. Paundrako Bhirukasteva, Vamshakaha, Shvetaporakaha, Kantaraha, Tapasexuscha, Kasthekshuhu, Sutipatrakaha, Naipalo, Dirgapatrascha, Nilaporo, Atha Koshakrata, Ityeta Jataya, Staulyata. These are the different species of the sugar cane which were available in that period. To a certain extent, they could be compared with the present day situation. In the present day situation, the types of the sugar cane which we see commonly are the black stem, white, wine red stem, green stem, yellow stem, red stem, and reddish stem, dark green stem. This how the sugar canes are identified in the market, and the sugar contents and the market rate also is varying according to these qualities. The sugar content, now when the sugar is sold in the sugar factories, the sugar cane is sold in the sugar factories, the rate of this will be fixed based upon these aspects, the color of the stem asset. Now, which of these the Paundraka, which of them is Nepali, it's quite difficult to point out. I don't have that capacity to point out that. Maybe it's one of the interesting issue if somebody has that property. Then Gunan Vaksha Metaparam, the properties would be varying based upon the type of tea sugar cane. And Sushito Madhuraha, Snigdaha, Brumhanaha, Skleshmalasaraha, Avidahi, Guru Krishyaha, Poundraka, Bhirukasada. Poundraka and Bhiruka variety would have Shital property, Snigda, Brumhana, Kafakara, and Saraguna. Now, Abhyam Tuleguna Kinchit Saksharaha Vamshakammataha Vamshava Chetaporastu Kinchit Usnaha Savataha. Vamshaka variety would have the similar property but has a slightly Ksharaguna, and the Shvetapura also has a similar property but Kinchit Usnaha, slightly Usnaguna. Kantara Tapasa Vikshu, Kantara and Tapasa variety would have Vamshaka Anugata Mato. They also have the similar property as that of the Vamsha. एवं गुणस्तु काष्ठेक्षु स तु वातप्रकोपणः काष्ठेक्षु would be वातप्रकोपणः सूचिपत्रो नीलपूरो नैपाली दीर्घपत्रकः वातलाः कफवितग्नाः सकषायाः विदाहिनः the Sujipatra Nilapura these Nepali Dirghapatraka they would have Vatakara property Kapapitagna reducer Kapapita and Koshakaraha Guruhu Shitaha Raktapitakshyapaha Koshakara variety would have Guru Guna Shita Raktapitakshyapaha. Of course, to make out in the present day situation which is the species and how far these different contents would be varying, it's quite difficult to make out that. And maybe there could be some sources, resources where these details may be available to a certain extent. Then अतीव मधुरो मूले मध्ये मधुर एव तु अग्ने अग्रेषु अक्षिषु विज्ञेयः इक्षूणां लवणो रसः. The in general the sugar cane would have more sweet taste in the base and near the root, and in the middle of the stem there will be comparatively lesser, and at the tip towards the leaf end it will have lavana rasaha. It's absolutely true. The sugar content of the sugar cane would be higher in the base, whereas in the tip the sugar content is lesser. अविदाहि कपकरः वातपित्तनिवारणः वक्त्रप्रह्लादनो वृष्यः दन्तनिष्पीडितो रसः. If you can extract the juice of the sugar with your teeth only, that's biting the sugar cane and then the sugar juice is collected, that sugar cane juice is taken in, that would have the property of kapakara, vatapitta nivarana, vakta prahladana. It improves the health of the oral cavity, vrishyaha. So Danta Nishpidita Rasa is always better, not the Yantrikaha. Yantrikaha, the sugarcane juice extracted from a machine. So even in social spirit, there was a machine to extract this sugarcane juice. Guru Vidahi Vistambi Yantrikastu Prakirtitaha. It's having Guru Guna, Vidahi Guna, and Vistambi. That's the properties. Then Pakko Guru Saraha Snigdha Satikshna Kapavatanato. Panitam Guru Madhuram Abhishanti Brahmanam Arusham Tidosha. Now, the sugarcane juice, which is heated and having that cooked properly, would have different names, and those are Lasika, Panita, Buddha, Khanda, Matsya, Andika, Asita, Sitaha, Nirmalaha. Now, the processing of the sugarcane juice in that period would result in many of those sugarcane outputs, and they are named as Lasika, Panita, Buddha. Buddha is the jaggery. Khanda Shankara is that sugar which is presented as big crystals. Matsandika, the real sugar. Sitaha, again variety of the sugar as such, where the color is quite bright. These are considered as Laghavodnyeha, Shitaviryaha, Yathottaram. These varieties are considered as the comparatively gradually reducing that residual substance. Lasika would have more of residual substance, whereas Sita is clear sugar, where the color is transparent. So they are Nirmalaha and Laghavaha, Shitaviryaha, Yathottaram. Now, yatha yatesham vaimalyam bhavet shaityam tata tata. As they become vaimalya, they are more clear, like color is lesser dense, they also would have more shita guna. Now, this is what in general the statement of the sugar varieties or sugarcane varieties, sugarcane products are mentioned in our different samhitas. Sushruta mentions about the property of Phanita. Pakko Guru Sarahasnita Sadishna Kapavatanato Phanitam. That Phanita is one of the sugarcane juice variety which is cooked properly, and the residue is not completely separated. That's considered as Madhura, Abhishyati, Brahmanam, Avishyam. It's Avrishya, Tridoshakrita. Now, many of those alcoholic beverages extracted from the molasses, they also can be compared to this. Phanita word also used in the Madhya Prabheda. We'll come to that. Next part would be about the Madhya. There again we'll come to that word also. गुडः सक्षारमधुरः नातिशीतः स्निग्धः मूत्ररक्तशोधनः नातिपित्तजित् वातग्नः मेदकृमिकफः बल्यः वृष्यश्च. The jaggery which we use, Buddha is jaggery, is Sakshara Madhuraha. There will be some Kshara Guna and Madhura Guna. Nati Shita, not very Shita, Snigdaha, Mutra Artha Shodhanaha. Then Nati Pitta Jita, mela krimi kapha karaha. It increases the krimi, medas and kapha. पित्तग्नः मधुरः शुद्धः वातग्नो असत् प्रसादनः सपुराणो अधिक गुणः गुडः प्रत्यतमः स्मृतः. The Guda jaggery stored for a longer duration, 1 or 2 years old Guda, Purana Guda, would be Patyatamaha. It will be having more physiological acceptable property. And Asat Prasadanaha, it also improves the contents of the blood. The now present day situation, jaggery, you have the FSCC standards for jaggery, and the contents also are the standards are fixed, right? In whatever we get in the market as the jaggery, it's you have that permissive limits of the contents like moisture, sucrose, etc. Total sugar present in that, and of course the different contents of the jaggery also are studied. The nutrition value of the jaggery is studied well, and this is how it's looked at now. Then Matsendika Khandashakara Vimalajataha Uttarattam Shitaha Snigdaha Gurutaraha Madhurataraha Vrishyaha Raktapita Prashamanaha Trishna Prashamanaja Yatha Yathesham Vaimalyam Madhuratvam Tata Tata Snehagaurav Shatyani Saratvam Tata Tata. It's a repetition of what is told, like all the preparations of the sugar cane, like different varieties of the sugar, like Matsendika, Khanda Sharkara, and Vimalajata. These are the different varieties of the sugar. Matsendika is the one brown colored sugar, and Khanda Sharkara, the sugar, the bigger piece of the sugar. They are Shitaha, Snigdaha, Gurutaraha, Madhurataraha. They are also sweeter, and gradually, as that mala or that sediments are removed, or which is more clear as such. यो यो मत्स्यनिका खण्डशर्कराणां स्वको गुणः तेन तेनैव निर्देश्य तेषां विस्रावणो गुणः सारस्थिताः सुविमलाः निक्षाराः तथा 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 गुणवती सर्वाः विज्ञेयाः शर्कराः बुधैः. Now, when you separate these, the residual portion, this molasses of the different preparations of the sugar products, they also would have the similar properties. तेन तेनैव निर्देशः तेव मिश्रावणगुणः सारस्थिताः सुविमलाः. The extracted portion, the residual portion is molasses, would have almost same property as that of the output, but the sarastita, that extracted portion, would have no kshara, nikshara, whereas the residual portion would have more kshara guna. Madhusharkara punah chardati sarahari, ruksha chedani prasadani kashaya madhura madhura vipakaha. Now, the Matsendika, what do you mean by Matsendika is Ishorasah, Yo Sampakvaha, Ganaha, Kinchit Dravanvidaha, Madhavat Spandare Esmat, Matsendika iti Nigadyate. A sugar cane juice which is heated and it becomes semi-solid, still there is some fluid content, that's considered as Matsendika. Something like a sakrepaka. We prepare that this semi-liquid preparation of the sugar cane, sugar as such, to prepare many of the food substances. Now, Madhu Sharkara, the Sharkara sugar with honey would be Chardhyati Sar Hari, Ruksha Chedani Prasadani, Kashaya Madhura Madhura Vipakaja. Then the sugar also is prepared from other sources other than the sugar cane. And these could be Yavasa Sharkara, the sugar extracted from Alagi camelum, Yavasa Patapaka Dhani Bhavat Sharkaraha. Now, this is very practically quite important. In India, the major source of sugar is sugar cane, whereas in many other countries, sugar is extracted from different plants as such. And in India also, we had that traditionally we had that source of the sugar from other plants, Yavasa Sharkaraha, that's Yavasa Alagi camelorum plant, was used as a sugar source of sugar, and it has Madhura Kashaya, Tikta Nurasa, Shleshmari, Sara, यावत्य शर्करा प्रोक्ताः सर्वे सर्वाः दाह प्रणाशनाः रक्तपित्तप्रशमनाः छर्दि मूर्छादशापहाः वृक्षं मधुकपुष्पोत्थं मधुकपुष्प produce the sugar would be having ruksha guna phanitam vatapittakrata kapagnan madhuram pake kashayam bastidushnam iti ikshuvargaha. This is about the ikshuvarga. With this we will conclude today. We will continue in the next session. If there are any questions, I will try to answer. Right, there are no questions, right? So we will conclude today. Thank you.